Hello and welcome to the Venice Art Crawl, the 10th anniversary. We're here with Robin Murez in her studio and backyard on the Venice canals, Court D. And she'd like to show you some of her iconic Venice work.
So actually I'm standing under the arm of Thoth, the Egyptian god. I made him actually like 20 years ago as a temporary public art project in St. Louis. And he was only supposed to be out for 3 months. But when I moved back to Venice, to LA, I brought Thoth with me. And he's been out in Windward Circle for the past several years. And just recently he disappeared. Turns out a neighbor, who then it turns out is my niece's, was my niece's teacher in junior high, picked him up. That's Paul Foxon, and picked him up, and because he saw that Thoth's arm had been broken off and he was lying down, and so anyway, through Facebook I was able to connect with Paul, and now I've got Thoth in the backyard, so I'll do some repairs. It's kind of amazing that fiberglass is strong as steel, and that he could be broken like this means somebody really came at it. But he's repairable. A lot of people seem to want him back out there, so I will do that. So if you want, we can take a look at some of the other sculptures that I also currently have in the backyard, but people will probably remember from them being out on Abbot Kinney for several years. This is my big heart. I originally made it with my nephew to teach him how to weld, and it was in my sculpture garden, was Robin's Sculpture Garden on Abbot Kinney for 13 years, where I hosted phenomenal events with aerialists flying and wonderful bands playing music. And then more recently I had it out in front of Westminster Elementary for a few years. It wasn't designed to be out in a public space, and everything out in a public space gets a lot of play. So that too, I'll do some reworking and we'll get it back out because they want it. This is the Kinney Tabor moire animation. This is like many of the sculptures that I have out on Abbot Kinney. They're kind of discrete, small, interactive pieces. This one, do you see a donkey moving and 3 pieces bobbing up and down? That's telling the story of Abbot Kinney having bequeathed his home to his chauffeur and good friend, Irving Tabor. And the home was on what is now Windward Circle. That was then the lagoon. Those were canals. In those days, blacks were not permitted to own land on the canals. So Irving used ingenuity and cut it in 3 parts. And with donkeys, he moved it over to Oakwood, where black people were allowed to own property. And it stands today. It's on 6th Street. So I think that's kind of an interesting story about racism and friendship. And I've got a couple others back here right now. This is the Wheel of Fortune, which many of you will remember was out on Abbot Kinney for years. Oh, jackpot. Got love. So crazy things go on Abbot Kinney. This one I've had to remove and I'll replace in a new location. And this was because the landlord that owns the shop that this was in front of thought that it was creating too much too many people were stopping to spin it, and so he thought that it needed to be moved. Of course, the store owners loved that because it was bringing customers into their store, but such is life in the commercial world. So actually, all of these kind of lead up to what I'm currently doing. Well, there's one more. So this is the winged lion, which is a symbol of the Republic of Venice. You know, Venice, Italy, had the winged lion, St. Mark's lion, as the symbol of the Republic. And Abbot Kinney also had carved winged lions on Windward Circle. And, you know, initially Abbot Kinney had built a lot of beautiful Italian architecture. We today have just a bit left, those colonnade at the entrance to the beach on Windward. But all of this, these kind of interactive, no-tech, kinetic sculptures, led me to doing what I'm currently doing, which is just a slightly larger kinetic, interactive public art sculpture. And that is, I'm currently building what some people refer to as a carousel. So let's come around so that you can get a shot this way. Those are masks that I print, again, no-tech, old-school way. I make stamps of all the carousel animals that I've carved and then print them onto these masks that were donated by Aloe Yoga, and I give them out. So if anybody watching this wants a free mask, just swing by and pick it up, or I guess message me through this, and we'll be sure that you get a mask. There'll also be a giveaway with a crowdfunding we're going to do. We've here, Lisa, let's have you bring the camera around. You can see the most recent carving I've done is the duck. This is, of course, bringing out the fact that Venice had lots of, I'll let you see how the legs will waddle as it flies. Of course, Venice had lots of canals, and now it has a few. This also pays tribute to a wonderful person, storyteller, who lived on the canals for many years, Orson Bean. And so this is my carved version of what he made the first time I ever met him, which was his eucalyptus tree magic trick. He somehow would roll up newspaper and magically it would turn into this giant eucalyptus tree. He was great. That was at the centennial celebration of Venice that I first met he and Allie, and they're just wonderful people. I'm sorry that we have lost Orson recently. This is the Tongva turtle. It's based on a Native American, the Tongva, were the people who lived here in Venice, and they have a story of the creation of California based on sea turtles. So that's why the turtle is on the carousel. There's a toucan here with the turtle, and the toucan's there because the family that sponsored the turtle, the mom grew up in Belize, and the toucan is the bird of Belize. And then back here, there's a little toy train like Venice had. We had a miniature train in Venice. But this train is carrying a number of different objects that the boys of the family who sponsored asked that it have, and also things that the family does. So it personalizes it, brings out more stories. These are binoculars. I think that's pretty awesome. The kids, little boys, brought over their binoculars as something that they wanted carved on it. And so each of the animals it's kind of a carousel tradition to raise money to fund the project by having the animals adopted or sponsored. So that's what we're doing. Actually, all of the big animals now have been sponsored. There are 8 large animals on the carousel. They will be for adults or children to ride. The carousel is bicycle propelled, so one actually kid can pedal the bike. And here Lisa's looking at the pegacorn that Emery collaborated with me in creating. She's the daughter of the family that sponsored this, and Emery is the name of a rock daisy, she told me. So she wanted some little rock daisies, and she wanted like a hidden fairy. So I actually carved several little fairies doing things that Emery likes to do. Here she's reading a book, and here she's flying with a paintbrush. So they're all kinds of like personalized elements. The pegacorn historically brings out the story of the original carousel that Venice had. We actually have had a few through the years, And this original one, you could see it was huge and magnificent. It was on the Abercrombie Pier, and it was made by the Denzel carousel builder, which is one of the like 4 extremely prominent carousel builders around turn of the century. And kind of a wonderful chain of events brought me to find that the 5th generation Denzel, Bill Denzel, is now building these bicycle propelled small carousels. So that's actually the basis for the format that we're following here. This bicycle propelled carousel that will carry 15 adults and kids, and but ours then being Venice themed and with the personalization of each of these families. This one also has a great story about the collaboration with the sponsor family. So this is the Shapiros who sponsored it, and in talking with their kids, their daughter said, well, could it be a girl lion? And could she be wearing a superhero cape and a tiara? And I said, sure. So we saw that the winged lion that I showed you outside being the symbol of the Republic of Venice. So I would call it like a wonderful kind of feminist contemporary twist on the original winged lion. Ours is now the caped lioness. And she has ballet slippers because the whole family, Joel Shapiro created the Electric Lodge in Venice, and he and the whole family are dancers. Laurie Shapiro is a rabbi, so we've got some Jewish stars mixed in with lots of hearts, and there's a lot of love. Actually, every one of the carousel animals has at least one heart somewhere within. And then let me show you the snail, or actually it does go by the name l'escargot, which is French for snail, and it was adopted and requested by École Clairefontaine, the fabulous nursery school that is on Abercrombie. And Joelle, the creator of the school, asked if it could be an elegant snail. So, and I thought, well, Joelle, how does a snail have a history with Venice? And we thought about it, and it's, well, Abercrombie actually created a number of things that kind of move slowly and let you take in the wonders of the world. So I decided to put a crown on the snail because that would give it this regal sense that Joelle wanted. And wouldn't you know, I was carving it, and then Corona hit. So this telling, the whole carousel again brings out stories of the history of Venice. And I think this is a fabulous way that we are also going to be documenting this age of Corona. So not only is the snail wearing a corona, a crown, but also on the corona, you should see there are some Corona, can you see there? Some coronaviruses, carved in, indications of them. And then other things carved in that went slowly in Abercrombie's day are the side that I'm on, there's a gondola, and over here there's the miniature train, and then we've got snails and baby snails, and I think that kids and adults seem to really like the snail. Perhaps for special occasions we'll have a slime button, so you can push the button and it'll shoot slime out. So let's see, then other things, do we have time? How are we doing?
Tell us the website and the official name of the carousel.
Sure.
As well as your fundraiser,
Okay.
your do-it-yourself workshops that are free.
Okay.
But some of the T-shirts and masks will also be used for fundraising for the carousel.
Right. So the website that can give you pictures of my making everything and information about how to become a part of the project is VeniceFlyingCarousel.com. And if you go to VeniceFlyingCarousel.com, you can contact me through there. You'll find my phone number, my email, everything. And A number of people are joining in to do everything from sponsoring the animals. As I mentioned, the big animals are all sponsored. They were $10,000 each, but now we do have the chariot still to sponsor, and that carries 2 people. So our goal is to raise $20,000 for it. We have our first sponsor, Sidewalk Cafe and Small World Books. They immediately pitched in $5,000, so we are already on our way. And then, well, can I just point out over here? You see this cute little swing? This is a store-bought version, but I'll be carving our own wonderful little animal swings that will also be on the carousel. And each of those animals are to be determined and can be fun things that, again, bring out stories of the history of Venice. The face masks were donated by Aloe Yoga, and I print them and give them out for free. And the t-shirts, which actually there was one that's now behind you, Lisa, is also a gift that we give for donation. And you can come over and do it yourself if you like, to print your own t-shirt. So we're not trying to raise money at every juncture. It's a big project, so we're looking at the big picture. We're nearly there, though. We've the next 2 animals that are to be done. Lisa, can you see the pictures on the far wall? Those are currently being fabricated by the carpenter who glues 2x4s together for me. This is the Grunion that the Rosens have sponsored. They have a wonderful Grunion story, and in fact you can pull it up. Charles Rosen, and they created and wrote Beverly Hills 90210, the TV show, and he actually wrote one of the segments of that show. You can pull it up. It's called The Party Fish, but you'll see it has Venice and the Grunion. That is the concept drawing for the chariot. So for the chariot, again, we're going to do a crowdfunding, and please join in. You can find information on that on the website. That'll be a Dogtown dog with a cool cat. The dog, of course, on a skateboard, and the cat with a beret like the beatniks that Venice has been famous for. And then this final one that will be made on a giant lathe, is Ray Bradbury's rocket ship. And it is in honor of the father of science fiction, Ray Bradbury, who lived and worked much of his career in Venice. And he wrote Fahrenheit 451 and the Martian Chronicles. And it is sponsored by Michael Silver, who is another neighbor here, and he came by and he's like, "Oh my God, do you know what I do? I found these," it's called American elements. He found these elements that are scarce in nature, and they are used now for NASA and SpaceX to protect rockets that go to the moon or Mars or wherever they're going these days. So serendipitous kind of connections have brought people to the project, and it's wonderful. There's like a carousel family, and ever growing. Whomever's watching, please join in. You can be a part of it by carving, by painting, by doing, tell me what you like to do, filming, anything that you feel like doing, we'll find a place. And the carousel will be in Centennial Park for everyone to ride. It will actually raise money, and the funds will all go toward STEAM and art projects for Venice. So there'll be like art, storytelling, science, technology, and projects for nature and the park itself. So you're welcome to stop by my studio. I'm here on Canal, it's actually Court D on the Venice canals, and you see there's like plenty of space for social distancing. And come by, let's get you involved.
How would they contact you, Robin, if they want to come and make masks or T-shirts?
Well, through Facebook or Instagram, Robin Murez, Robin Murez, or the website, VeniceFlyingCarousel.com, has all my contact information. It's pretty easy to find me that way. Just Google Venice Flying Carousel and it should all come up.
Thank you very much, Robin. And happy anniversary again, 10th anniversary to the Venice Art Crawl. And please look up Robin's website and her spectacular, historic, and iconic work. It's a really great picture that takes you on a ride from where she started and how she used the public feedback and excitement and inspiration to continue to make amazing work in Venice. So thank you, Robin. And the next artist coming up will be in a few minutes. And please refresh your screens so that you can get the next live feed. And thank you very much for watching. Couldn't remember the name.